my earth tenders. So I listened to the recording again of my new property reading, and uh, the the synchronicities and everything else just feel so good. I've started charting on my surveys where the different things are that we've talked about. Also, I was looking at the contrast of Google Maps, and the pond that's on my property actually isn't even seen on Google Maps, but very prominently there's a creek that essentially is coming around where I live right now, definitely feeds the two ponds that are on my parents' property, their original property, and then almost touching and then going across the road to where I will be living this summer. And funny enough, it was the creek that our presidential candidate Kennedy was, whatever it's called when you get in trouble. He had heroin on him in 1984, and he was assigned to clean up this creek or do some sort of community service around this creek. And that's where he decided to go into environmental law. And he actually trudged through all of these polluted waters to get samples and identify all of the polluters so that he could sue them under the Clean Water Act. I think it something in the teens or the 20s in terms of the number of plaintiffs that he accused, and he cleaned up the creek that has flowed through my life around the time that I was born, because I was born 2 years after that. So, really cool. And I'm going to start. So far, I've hiked essentially my property, the 1.6 or so acres, but I'm going to start making my way around the full 26 and collecting as I go. So I had already had this nature art streak, whatever you want to call it, where it was so funny because as Amy was talking about tree, the sounds of trees and how they heal, as I've been practicing singing and doing living song, I've bought a drum from India, I have a shaker, but this is what feels the best when I'm singing, and the tool that I can keep track of the most, because I have a lot of retraining to do of my brain, and keeping a beat while singing a song is very hard, very, very hard for me. So that has all felt so good. I had already started rocks, where this one says graveyard altar. It's a combination of veins and spider webs. And then I had picked up separate rocks around the property that I'm at now and made one for each of my nieces or nephews. So I'm starting the rock garden to transplant, and then separate of that I had this idea of, and I think it was in Amy's podcast with the woman who was connected to the Cantumblé people, talking about having a place where you go to grieve, or that's a graveyard, even if it's not an actual graveyard. So that was pretty cool too to think about. I finished writing my Andara for the project. Oh my gosh. I believe the project is Mokuula, and I forget the guy. I just keep saying the Hawaiian guy that Amy also had on her podcast. But I had taken the Andara to the new property a few times, and the official word is song. So that's ready to ship off to Hawaii. I think it's really incredible. I think everyone should go to, I think it's, if you just Google Project MOKU apostrophe ULU, you'll be able to find information on how to participate. I think it's a really strong example of what people can do to connect the land together. And once the grid starts, once the ceremony happens and the grid starts being revitalized, the people that are involved will be the living examples of what's possible. So I'm really excited about that. I've also started my flower tinctures. I'm looking up how to create paste from the wood ash. And again, like all of these synchronicities just keep happening where I had envisioned a place on this property that trees had fallen. And so I thought I'd be able to find something to start making the skeletons of the, what's the word, dream catchers. And in that place, separately, was just this long vine. And I don't know where it came from. I went back and looked around, and I still don't know where. Ooh, it's not done. But I still don't know where it came from. And there's just these beautiful twirls that grew that way and allowed me to completely enclose the circle without using anything besides the vine itself. And then some of these rods were already stuck in there, so I just kept weaving them in. And then this will be the skeleton, we'll call it, of the first dream catcher that I'm doing for the trees. I have one that actually came from my stepmother, and I think I'm bringing it over there. And then another one that I'm just going to try and replicate the web that's inside. And everything just feels wonderful. In the meantime, I've just finished level 1, so I'm starting level 2. And I'm going to wait until I can get a good sense of this current property that I'm on, because things are great and going wonderfully, but I'm still in a lot of pain day to day. So, beyond trusting that my body is healing from all of the trauma, namely the surgery that I went through, surgeries, I want to work with the place that I am in to help this nature heal me more. Because the reality is, even the 3-minute drive to get to the new place it's not something that I can do every day. Whatever. We could go on about that, but we won't. So I already walk the property every day. I already have these rituals entwined into the nature around me. But now I'm trying to go to that deeper level. And I had never really thought about it, so I took a walk to find the grande energy tree. And not only did I find it, but I realized, even though I've admired it and walked by it almost every day, I can't actually get close enough to touch the tree trunk. So I am going to need some help. I'll submit for another reading for this actual address, because it's around pollution, and there has to be some sort of balance to that between what I'm capable of doing versus what is needed versus the energy that I should be spending here where I currently am for the next 6 months, 7 months, versus where I'll be for the rest of my life. So it's all really cool, all very interesting. I wanted to show some of that stuff that I've been working with. And yeah, until the next phase.